No head chops today. No head chops today. Well, it's Dirty Duck here again. I know you're dying to know what's happened to this bike, and let me show you. There's got to be a fair bit of moving around, but what we're talking about today is old sexy here. Yeah, anyway, and I know you'd all be thinking like I was after the last video, oh, he'll be starting it up and we'll be able to, yeah. So one thing that I've learnt with this motorcycle is things don't go normally. So the first thing what roadblock was I needed some new piston ring pliers, and I ordered them online expecting to be there in a couple of days, and piston ring pliers are these. Right, weird looking thing. And then what they do is they go in here like so, and then actually I might just turn that light off. I'm not sure whether that light might be, oh, the sun's coming through the window too now. And basically they just open your piston rings nicely to slip them over, and over the years I used to just slip them on by hand, but these ones, I don't know, these are like absolute moonbeam for rings, and then I didn't want to risk them coming in from having to bring another one set in from overseas with God knows how long I had to wait. So I decided to buy some new ones and better quality, and they started to come, and then I got an email saying, due to the bad storm in Wellington, we cannot send anything out. And long story short, that was the first week. Second week, yeah, just roadblocks. First thing I want to, just to sidetrack off the roadblocks, I wanted to show the customer the new bored out cylinders. Absolutely beautiful, right? All the scratches and everything are gone. Yeah. And that's the rear one. That's the front one. Try and absolutely amazing, right? And then the other thing, I don't know if I can do it. I might do it when I put the engine, but I just slipped the piston in there. It's absolutely, remember when I pulled it apart, you could drive a semi-truck and trailer down the side of the piston. The gap was so big. So I'll slip this one in, and then I'll just show you with the phone. Right. I mean, it's got no rings on it, but I mean, you can't. It's just hasn't got the gap. Like, remember when we pulled the engine apart, it had these massive massive gap, right? And you can see now that that's, you know, like, you can't see these big gaps in here, you know. I mean, admittedly, it's sitting off centre because I've got it lying on the side, but anyway. So I put the first lot of rings and that onto the first piston, and then I was like, oh, I'll chuck that end of the engine back together, and I cleaned all around the engine, and I cleaned all of them and made them all look beautiful. And I thought, oh, I'll just spin the bolts onto the studs and check that they're all going on nice. And that's when it really started to go downhill. And basically, just spin this around. Bear with me. This is high-tech gear. Okay, and so basically you clean the threads, put a nice bit of oil on them, and then basically you just check them for damage, and they look pretty good to me, you know, on a scale of things. You put them on and you spin them on and you make sure they go on nicely, right? And then I noticed about the third one, I think it was this one, I noticed, hello, Mr. Wonk Wonk's here. And when I say Mr. Wonk Wonk, I mean that the bolt is physically doing this, right? And you can't have that. You cannot have it. It signifies that the bolt is probably bent. I don't know if you can see that from there. If you put it on here, you might be able to see it. Probably out of distance. So I'm going to put it in the lathe anyway and show you. So I had a look at, and then I realised that the bloody things are bent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you around here. I don't know if you're going to see this, so I might have to. I don't think this is going to work, but so I put it in the lathe, and the same deal again. I can see these. This is what I was showing the owner, you know, like he's got damage, like someone's twacked it with a hammer, and I don't know how that, I don't know whether you can see that there. Yeah, see it? Is anyway, superficial damage. Let's just see if you can see that. Get that thing out of the. Let's just cover that. You might see it easier if I cover that. Oh, you can't see it on that one. I'll put right, I'll hold that above. So what we're looking at is the distance here. Okay? We're looking at the distance between the cutting tip and the bolt. Right? Watch it. Actually, just hang on a minute. I'll get another coloured rag and put it underneath, and you would see it clearer, a lot clearer. Crap everywhere at the moment. Right. Right, let's try that again, right? See? See how that goes way in and then it goes out. See? Comes in and goes out. Let's have a look at that other one. Just we put that one in. Okay, so I'm going to have to set this one up because I don't want to mark it. But I'm the other reason why I'm doing this is I want to show the owner how much out it really is. Like, okay, and that other long one is not the one. I only found that today because once you find two. Okay. Look at that. See the gap? See the gap here between the end of this cutting tooth and the side of the bolt, right? If I pull that back, see? Wow, look at that. I don't know what that is. It's like it got a. When I put a straight edge onto it, it's like you can see half a mil gap down the side of the bolt. Right. Now, let's put you back in there. Bear with me. Yes, the place has got lots of crap everywhere, and yes, I need to have a clean up. And God, if I waited till I cleaned up everything before I'd done videos, it'd never happen. Yeah, bear with me. Right, hopefully I'm not head chopping. I seem to have a love for. So it's critical that those bolts are straight, because on the top of the bolt, right? Oh, just get one of those. And a pointer. So when these bolts are pushing down, they're pushing down on the surface here, right? So if this surface here is not parallel to this down here, right? What happens when you come to torque them on the bike, or on any vehicle, but it's on a bike, is that you get this, because it's the bolts doing this, you'll get tight on the torque wrench and then it'll go loose. Then it'll go tight, loose, okay? So it's going to bugger you up on the torquing, right? You
cannot have these bent. I've already had a couple of guys say, small bent, and it's just no, right? That's not the way we roll. I looked in the manual, and the manual says, oh, you just replace the bent ones with new ones, right? I had a look today, got another one off the bike, put it in the lathe, spun it, and it looks bent as well. So that's 3 I've found. And the point that I want to make here is, why have they bent? Right? If you look up the manuals, they say incorrect procedure, okay? Which probably is true. But here's the thing, this guy has spent so much money on this engine. Are you now going to risk that for a set of head bolts, right? So I rang up old Parts Mate, and I says, look, I need some new head bolts for this bike, and I think it's this part number, what was it, 93-3010, and he looked it up, and he goes, oh yeah, for Duck, for any other bike, for just about any other bike, engine, Harley engine, that would be absolutely fine. On that V-113, no, it's got a longer stroke and it's got a bigger head and da-da-da, and he ran it off. It was just not going to work. And then I rang the customer, and I says, oh, look, you know, I found at least two bent. This was the other day, you know, what you want to do. And you know what he said? He says, nah, let's just put a whole new set in, you know? And that wasn't without me prompting. Luckily for me, the owner is an engineer as well. So, you know, it was much relief. I even struggle that I would have even done that, actually. So here's the reason why, right? Even if the procedure was followed wrong or badly, I can't, it does not explain how that head bolt bent by the amount that it did, to be out by 2 or 3 mil on a wonk. And that's not the only one now, that's the third one I've found. You've got to start wondering why. And here's my theory, right? Is that this engine was built in 2000, the year 2000 is my understanding, around there. Okay, so is it mechanical abuse, or is it something else? Now, I would suggest to you to have 2 out of the 8. I just can't believe that, because this was in a bike shop. I can't believe that bike shop was so bad that they ignored this fact. Well, I can, but I'm choosing not to, put it that way. So what other factor could contribute to those bolts bendings? And the conclusion that I've got in the end is the same but similar but different as the clutches. As the clutch hubs, we found they had crystallization in the drive, which means basically that they put probably too much carbon into the steel, or cooled down too quick, or something like that, for it to become crystallization and break. And then the same thing with these bolts. I think it is metal fatigue, right? And over a period of time, these bolts have just lost their strength. They've lost their hardening maybe, or lost their strength, or they didn't put enough carbon and other things in there to keep them hard. So it's a no-brainer. Let's just throw them over your shoulder, get a new set and put them in. Now, the other point that I wanted to make here very quickly, in most vehicles now, cars, trucks and that, the standard procedure is to throw the old head bolts away. Okay, that is just a standard procedure, right? So anyway, long story short, because I feel like I'm waffling on, I tried to bring them in from overseas, and the freight that they were wanting was just bloody ridiculous, because this is an oddball engine. They don't, it's like on eBay and that, they don't have that particular part there often. I came across one guy who had the long ones. He had the short ones, and he said he had the long ones, but then he couldn't find the long ones. So, and then the freight just to buy half, and then it was just like, you know what? I'm going to get new ones off S&S directly where they're brand new, and hopefully they haven't been dicked around with. So that's where we're up to, and we're on a 4-week wait. So once again, I feel like, like it's not even my bike, but it's just like, it's like pineapple after pineapple after pineapple. And for those of you that don't know what pineapple means, pineapple is a term what comes from the Australian mines, right? When I worked in the Australian mines, and it basically goes like this: when you do an F up, and you got to go and see the foreman. He's in the office, and then it's the joke as you're going is, get ready to receive your pineapple duck. And basically that means bend over, because the boss is going to put a big pineapple up your where the sun don't shine. That's the polite way I can put it. So once again, roadblock. I put the valves in. The valves are in. That was great. And whenever you do engines like this, you've got to systematically go through and check everything. Make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and the thing is spotlessly clean. There's no oil. If there's any oil where those gaskets bolt up, they're going to leak. So anyway, waffling on. As soon as I hang up, I'm going to remember something else to show you, but it's probably long enough. I hope you all enjoy this, and we'll see you soon. All right. Duck is out.